What's up, everybody? Mark here. Glad to be bringing you guys a new G.I. Joe classified unboxing and review. Today, we have everyone's favorite Cobra Ninja. He is new to some of us. Not new to most of us in the US, though. Not yet. And, of course, that ninja, everybody's favorite ninja from Cobra, the Walmart exclusive retro G.I. Joe Classified Storm Shadow. Let's talk about it. So yeah, I picked up Storm Shadow, Zartan, Commando Snake Eyes. If you didn't see my last video, I picked them up from a dealer in Hong Kong, Robot Kingdom. Free plug to them. If you're interested, it does cost you some money to have them shipped here, but the base price on the figures is very comparable to what they're being offered in the US. If you're in Canada or other parts of the world, you've probably already got these figures. So that's awesome. I couldn't wait. I was tired of waiting. So I ordered the ones I didn't have. I've done previous reviews of the Retro Crimson Guard. Got them from the same place. They had the remaining three I didn't have available. I just said, heck with it. I'm going to order them. Got them in a week's time. Packaged well, even though the cards are bent all up. But it is what it is. I'm an opener, so no big deal here. Canceled my orders for through Hasbro, Pulse, and Walmart. Just said, heck with it. I've got them now. I'm not really a double up kind of guy unless it's just something really good when it comes to the classified line, which they're just, for me personally, it's too much. I couldn't possibly have one on card and one in or on my shelves. I don't have the room. So for you folks that have room, I am very envious because I do not have enough room in this around here. I got too many things going on in this room. If I showed you the room, it's a war zone right now. It needs to be cleaned up. But you didn't want to hear about my room. You want to look at this Storm Shadow as much as I do. So let's get right on to it. And here we go. We have the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Series Storm Shadow. And as you can see, the card, first thing your eyes probably go to, if not Storm Shadow himself, is the completely damaged or warped card. It's that flimsy stock, so don't be surprised when you see every one of these. Nobody's collecting this particular line because it's minty fresh. Like I said, it came packaged very well. It was actually in a box, and that box was completely lined with styrofoam and then layers of styrofoam between the figures. Unfortunately, this is probably the way they got it, so it is what it is, but that's okay. Of course, you have the classic, but updated slightly, Storm Shadow card art, and then you have the figure. On the back, we have the oversized file card, role covert ops, primary speciality, assassin, secondary speciality, intelligence, birthplace classified. Storm Shadow can trace his family history through 30 generations of assassins. He can scale sheer walls with bare hands and feet and move with blinding speed. Of course, down here we have the cross-sell of the rest of the figures. Got your stickers, got your legalese. And it is what it is. Like I said, this figure, at first glance, seems to be very, very close to what we got previously in the classified line, but we are going to get this guy out of the package and we are going to see what is truly up with Storm Shadow. And here we are. We have Storm Shadow out of his plastic prison looking as ninja can get. And I tell you, he looks fantastic. And I've immediately started noticing differences between this one and the other figure. We'll get into that here in a moment. But yeah, it's the same figure that we've gotten before. It's just a little different. And primarily that is because they have changed out the forearms on this Storm Shadow figure, as well as the hands. Those are completely different. This is now a complete wrap with no forearm guard and just non-gloved hands. So kind of more, along the lines of what you remember your, not your vintage Storm Shadow, but what you might have remembered from the comics and such. They have also given him a slightly different, I want to say, wash on the wraps around his legs. And his feet are now completely white. and no black pattern mixed in with it. And then one other fun thing that I did notice as well when I was looking this figure over is that they have really pronounced the scar on his face. Now, you might not have known that because I didn't notice it until I looked at my other Storm Shadow, but you can see he has a scar running down his eye. Let me see if I can brighten that up a little bit to kind of show it off. There you go. You can see it very well right there. This scar is present on the other figure, but it is not as pronounced. So, very cool that they've added that. As you know, the original G.I. Joe figure from 1964 had a scar down the chin, so it's kind of cool that they carried that through. But yeah, this is a great Storm Shadow, and of course, a great Storm Shadow. Is there enough there to... Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Let's go over those accessories he comes with, because that's some differentiating as well. So, I'll start backwards. Then my last video, he comes with a stand, a Cobra stand, which is awesome. Hasbro, again, stands should be coming with all figures. This is G.I. Joe. Stands come with figures. Whew. That's my PSA. So, he comes with his two swords, his shorter one and his longer one, with their Cobra, I almost said insignias, but that's not right, but the actual Cobras on the hilts. Very cool. He comes with his bow and his arrow. And notice this one, they are white. They were not white on the original figure that came out in the classified. So, another differentiation. His quiver, is that what it's called? Where you keep your bows, or you keep your arrows, I'm sorry. It is white. Sorry, the feathers on the arrows are white as well. Otherwise, the backpack quiver combination is the same as what we got on the other figure. So again, another standing out thing they did. And then he comes with alternate hands. And we all like alternate hands. This hand is throwing a shuriken, which I do not believe the other figure had. I do not recall the other figure have a shuriken throwing hand, so that's very cool. And another fisted hand. So, very cool. Let's take a moment here to gear him up, see what we got going on here. So, of course, we're going to put his backpack on him. He has a hole straight through his bandolier. And then we, with a little bit of luck, can do this right the first time. There we go. Well, no. Well, I tell you, I am having a hard time. It's always hard because I always want to look through the camera instead of actually looking at the figure as I'm doing it. There we go. Much easier if you actually just look at the figure. So, there's that. And of course, we can put the bow on. I just have to remember how you do it. I believe it's like this. So the bow goes on the back. It's funny, I don't remember doing that on the other figure. So we can put the bow on his back. We can put the arrow inside the backpack as well. And then, of course, we can put him on a stand. Maybe. Again, it helps if I actually look not through the camera and actually at what I'm trying to do. Tell you what, he's having a hard time going in there. Those are very, very snug pegs on this figure, on the peg holes on the feet. Very snug. So, we have that. And you know what, just for grins and giggles, let's replace his right hand with the shuriken throwing hand, because I think that would be pretty cool to see. So, we just... Whoa! There went the bow. So there we go. Let's find where I threw the bow, and well, the bow might be MIA now. And let's put his longer sword in his hand, of course. We will put the other sword in its sheath. So that would be going this way. Perfect. And let me stand up momentarily, see if I can find that bow. There it is. Perfect. And we will put that back on his backpack. Perfect. And I didn't get that in there correctly. Like I said, these peg holes are very, very tight, and just that heel does not want to go in it. Wow, that is unbelievably difficult. And it just came right off. The peg holes don't, I'm sorry, I'm not getting this in the camera. The peg holes just don't seem deep enough to actually hold Storm Shadow. Oh, clearly they are, because there it is, flat-footed. So there we go. Let's get that other one in there. Oh, yeah, there we go. Finally, geez. So, very cool. Let's give him that. Excellent. So, at this point, we might as well do a little bit of comparing. And I have the other classified Storm Shadow right here. And as you can see, they look very similar at first glance, other than some of the stuff I've mentioned, being the wash on the legs. And I'm trying, let me pull them up close. Now you tell me, are those the same white, or is this one just a little bit wider? Because I feel like this one's a little bit wider. But outside of that, they have one has arm bracers, one does not. And the hands are different, as I mentioned. They've swapped out the hands completely. And if we spin them around just so we can look at, I don't have the bow and arrow on this one, unfortunately, so I can't compare that. But you can't tell, but let me take the bow and arrow off this one. The red on the Arashikage symbol is much brighter on this one than it is on the original classified figure. And then, of course, you got the feathers on the arrows are different. Swords are the same. I don't think there's any difference there. But yeah, so there you go. There's your comparison. And just similar to the Snake Eyes Commando video, the retro Snake Eyes, if you can get this Storm Shadow, don't pass it up. I think there's enough difference between this one and the one we originally got to make this one worth a pickup. Matter of fact, this one I like more than that one just straight out of the box. Similar to my Snake Eyes review, actually. This one is just... This one is what we should have got here, but I'm glad that we're getting this one now. It's very cool. I love the way it looks. I love the brightness of the white. I love the attention to detail with the scarring. I like just the more white. I like the alternate hands. I like the just wraps around the arms. This one's going to be my default Storm Shadow. This guy, unfortunately, will get relegated to some tote. But still a great figure. But this one's the one you should probably get, in my opinion, if you can afford it. 25 bucks. Walmart.com, Hasbro Pulse, if they still have some. That being said, I appreciate you guys, as always. If you've made it this far, give me a thumbs up. Drop me a comment down below. Tell me what you like. Tell me which one is there enough meat on the bones, as they say, to pick up this one? Or are you guys happy with your classified one the first go around? Nothing wrong with this figure. Wonderful figure. I just think for a definitive Storm Shadow, this is my new go-to. So with that, I'm Mark, and I will see you later.